And we're live. Welcome to Startup TNT Week 98, coming to you live from global headquarters here in Edmonton, Alberta, also known as Zach's Basement. Startup TNT is a weekly happy hour. We get together every single Thursday. It's Thursday night tradition. We have fun and make friends and build companies with other entrepreneurs, investors, members of the startup ecosystem, and we're really happy to be joined by friends from the life sciences community tonight. And I'm really excited about our host. None other than Andrew McIsaac from Applied Pharmaceutical Innovations, a guy that is working harder than anyone I know to build an awesome life sciences industry right here in Edmonton. And before I hand it over to Andrew, though, I just want to say one really awesome mic drop moment that just was publicly announced. Alberta entrepreneurs raised $500 million in 2020 in venture capital funding. Hey, yo, that's incredible. I hope everyone's paying attention. I'm really proud to say that Startup TNT contributed 1.4 million of that $500 million. So we're working our way up there. We're really excited about that. But tonight, it's not about raising money. It's about learning about the great companies here in Edmonton across Alberta. So Andrew, I'm going to hand over to you. I'm just going to start by saying I keep seeing you in the news. Everywhere I look, it's like Applied Pharmaceutical Innovations is going after this new major funding initiative. Andrew McIsaac is on this panel talking about all the great things he's doing at Applied Pharmaceutical Innovations. Tell us what's happening.
Well, nothing's happening with us. It's happening with the companies and groups we support, which is, it's been great. It's been a phenomenal year for us here. It's been a challenging year, as it has been for everyone, but I think we're really starting to build a lot of momentum around the potential that we have here in Edmonton and Alberta and Canada when it comes to life sciences. So I'm thrilled to be here co-hosting with you. Myself, I got some of the Polar Park variety of drinks in my hand, and I think this is gonna be a really fun night. I actually, am aware of a number of the presenters today, and I know they have phenomenal companies that they're leading, and so I think it'll be super fun, and I can't wait to introduce them to everyone, and then hopefully, following this, have a lot more fun on Discord.
Yeah. Okay, Andrew, before we go to the presenters, do you want to tell us a little bit about why you think Edmonton is ripe for becoming a life sciences powerhouse, particularly in the manufacturing component?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we launched API, which is a not-for-profit institute. It was sort of over a period of 4 years, but formally spun out of the university in 2018 to help life science companies commercialize. We have a whole bunch of great intellectual property that comes out of our universities here. And we also have a whole bunch of great translational capacity, but we just don't really have the structures to enable those two things to work together. And so what API launched to do is to provide the ability for companies to access and build teams developing their IP in province and give them the ability to move forward in a more cost-effective manner than what many people are forced to do, which is raise some money and then spend it at CROs, overseas or elsewhere. So we're doing this from a two-pronged approach where we're helping companies and supporting jobs for folks across the province who are working in the life sciences. And on the side, we also work to attract and promote investment into the region, as well as work with the who's who of pharma, helping to bring industrial projects here with the idea that the more translational research we do in province and in city, the more likely we are to successfully commercialize companies here. And so that's what we're working to do, building a cluster and really ensuring that we change that paradigm. I think it was Canada's 32nd in the world when it comes to commercializing its own IP. I think we can change that, and I think we can help a lot of companies be successful and have a lot of fun too. Like there's a lot of excitement happening right now, and I think it's going to continue to boom over the next few years.
Yeah, lots of room to grow in that ranking, and I think some of the companies here today are helping us change that narrative. So, Andrew, why don't we go to our first presenter? Who we got?
Absolutely. So we have a powerhouse working in the drug development and artificial intelligence space, hailing from the Faculty of Science and now company, 48 Hour Discovery, who I've seen a lot in the news recently as well. But you know, I'm not the one to tell that story. I'll hand it over to Ratmir to share what they're up to.
Thanks. Thanks for having me here. Just going to go quickly through our very standard slide deck. I'm going to start timer here. We're 48 Hour Discovery, and currently I'm actually broadcasting from South Korea, where I'm trying to start a joint venture. We're signing it probably tomorrow or early next week between our company, which is a 4-year-old company based in Alberta, and then the Korean company that does a cutting edge, probably one best-in-class AI drug discovery in the world. We are pursuing discovery of new pharmaceuticals and specifically discovery of early ligands for drug development. Also, some of our clients do imaging, diagnostics, and delivery agents. We work in a very particular area of chemical space. So that's if you are in a pharmaceutical business, we are right here, and we are in the monetary space of about the relatively small sector, $21 billion market. And we're expanding in a much larger discovery of molecules for a $1 trillion pharmaceuticals market with the help of the AI. Our secret sauce is here in one tube, so like a one cup that contains several billion molecules at once. Anything that can be shipped to us could be just dipped into that cup, and a few hours later can be taken out, deep sequenced with the help of next generation sequencing technology, processed through a cloud pipeline to give the results to our clients. And then our clients then take these results and use them for drug development. It's a bit the difference between how we do drug discovery and how traditionally pharma does drug discovery. It's the same difference as big Library of Congress with many, many books, expensive $100 million building, very expensive to run, versus the USB stick that just contains that. So we have more molecules in our cup than the entire world of chemistry ever made in the history of the world. And it's easier to manage them because they're all in one place with the tags, with the DNA tags. Technology is functional, it works, it's been bringing revenue for the last 3 years. We hit the $1 million mark last year in revenue, and then probably doubling it in the coming year, and hopefully continuing with that trend. We recently announced that we're working with Merck. Out of 4 companies, there are 4 other companies that I can't name, but they're somewhere on this list of top 20 pharmaceutical companies. Merck did a press release last week. Kind of looking forward to our collaboration. They're very excited to work with this interesting chemistry capacity that we have. So the ability to synthesize billions of molecules at a time and then screen them. So this is for aficionados in the audience, our secret soup of molecules. And we're competitive in the landscape between other companies in the world. So our 2 biggest competitors are publicly traded companies with a billion or near billion market cap, but still our clients come to us and work with our technology. Happy to explain how and why. This slide says that we use big data. Big data just means many data points on a plot, and we filter it through to get the results to our clients. Many clients, many targets. It's a blooming business, and we even initiated internal drug discovery target for our own business. And I'll just finish maybe at these 2 slides saying that we're currently working so provision of the platform to the clients, internal drug discovery area, and we're going to be starting something in San Diego pretty soon. We're going to be inking the joint venture next week in South Korea, in Seoul, and that's where we're going to be pushing the AI drug discovery, combining AI drug discovery with our own technology. And I'll just stop here and take questions.
Oh, yeah, awesome, Ratmir. This is like really impressive stuff. And I understood all of it, just so you know, I understood all of it. No, but seriously, you mentioned your competitors, and that intrigued me. So you got 2 major, like publicly traded billion-dollar market cap competitors. What do they think of you? Are they talking to you? Are they trying to take you out? How are they interacting with you?
I know personally the founder of Pepsidream. We usually give talks in the same sessions back to back, and we're aware of each other. So I don't know if we're like real friends, but we would go for a drink and talk about things. As far as business strategies, we're just cautiously parallel, so we don't compare each other. with Bicycle Therapeutics, it's a bit hard. Actually, I do know a founder of Bicycle Therapeutics as well, and we also give talks back to back in sessions. So that's just personal relationship. But from a business relationship, I know that Bicycle Therapeutics doesn't provide the capacity that we do. They don't provide their services or platform technologies to others. They only signed one deal with AstraZeneca for $1 billion or something, and that's it. Pepsidream, every single client that we work with has a capacity and access to Pepsidream platform, but they still decide to go to us, and that's because they need broad access to chemical space. They need capacity that Pepsidream platform can't offer. And if you look at Merck has purchased Pepsidream platform about 6-7 years ago, but then they approached us and said, look, it's working great in some cases, it doesn't work in others. We want to try your platform where this doesn't. So we're kind of proud to be the same, working in exactly the same space. And when one thing doesn't go, they go to us. And so there's no one tool kill all type answer. It seems like there's a series of major power tools, and we're hopefully going to become one of those power tools.
Okay. Andrew, did you want to ask a question?
No, I think you did a pretty great sort of full overview. I guess one of the questions that I could ask is, how do you see yourself sort of promoting yourself with the other tools in the toolbox? Like, do you see the potential for, a wide range of partnerships and joint ventures with other companies that are providing those other aspects? Or like, do you think you'll one day become part of an integrated company? Or are you, thinking that this will likely sort of serve as a specific niche service in an area of drug discovery?
Well, okay, maybe I'll latch into the niche of drug discovery. It's a cool concept. If I can just stay in the niche of drug discovery, it's $1 trillion niche, so I'm pretty comfortable there to start. But marketing aspect of the question, I think you're asking, how do we connect to more people, tends to be just word of mouth. Pharma is a pretty small world. Somebody knows that somebody is working for something, Merck announcing us, and someone talking at a conference that they work with us, and the word just spreads. And we've been just getting cold calls from the customers in the last couple of weeks, just saying, hey, we heard about you, can we talk? Which is interesting, which is maybe just the luck and it's going to run out, but so far it's been cool. And I think that's how technology development initially works. There's a lot of curiosity and people want to try it, but then eventually we'll have to work hard to maintain it. And then I think there was an element of placing our technology or becoming integrated. So like licensing our technology to larger pharma is one of our future goals, but nothing as of yet. Some of the deals have option to license, some of them not deals, but that's still just an option to license for now.
Gotcha. Well, I say if you keep on doing a good job, that sort of inbound traffic that's natural doesn't slow down. It continues. Awesome. So that brings us to our next presenter. Here they are in the center of my screen. I'm not sure about other people's, but Biom and Aurelia, who I don't actually know too much about. So I'm really excited for this presentation.
I'm really excited to be here today and introduce Biom to everyone. All right, so again, thank you so much for having me today. And at Biom, we have a revolutionary approach to skincare. Our mission is to balance microbiome to tackle skin concerns, in particular acne. So our team is comprised of 2 co-founders at the moment, myself and Tamsin. And we met actually during our PhDs, and we worked at the same institute. And another thing that we had in common at the time was different experiences with acne. And during our daily coffee breaks, we decided to combine our expertise in synthetic biology, phage biology, as well as bioinformatics to come up with a solution for acne. We're also very lucky to have expertise of Dominique Sauvageur in startups, as well as Anastasia Elias in material science from U of A. So most of the world's population has been affected by acne at some point during their lives. It is very likely that you had to deal with it as well. And there are a number of reasons that cause acne, and one of them is composition of skin microbiome. Acne lesions, they start with excess sebum production, followed by clogging of your pores, eventually lead to bacteria overgrowth that cause acne. Although it seems like an extremely superficial problem, acne leaves you not only with lesions on your skin, but lifelong psychological scars. So at the moment, actually in 2020, the global beauty market was 744 billion US dollars. And acne treatment itself was 2.3 billion US dollars. And both of these markets, they are expected to grow in the next 10 years. There are multiple current solutions that include acne skincare, prescription acne treatment, and also microbiome skincare. So there is a range of different options that you can choose from. The problem with most of these options is the fact that they can be extremely harsh and can have many side effects, and that's what we're trying to avoid. So our solution is phage-based hydrogel sheet mask. And Biome, we're using the sheet mask combined with natural predators of bacteria called phages to specifically modulate microbiome on your skin. And we believe that our method will provide lasting solution from troublesome skin, acne in particular. Our unique value proposition is the fact that we are targeting acne by using its natural predator, phages, and we have a unique delivery method that not only allows the phages that we use to be absorbed to your skin better, but also all of the ingredients that we're using for our product. And we believe that repeated use of will balance your microbiome, unlike the harsh traditional acne treatments. So just to quickly sum up, so at Biome, our vision is to provide a gentle and effective solution for common skincare problems and acne in particular. But our mission and overall goal is to prevent it happening in the first place. Thank you so much for your time.
Great presentation, Aurelia. And I love to see innovation in phage technology. I did my PhD in phage technology with Dominic Sauvageau, one of your advisors. So really cool project. Where are you at now with the product? Like, how are you sourcing the phages? Where are you at in terms of like testing their efficacy against acne?
Right. So we are done with ideation stage. We have our proof of concept that we're working on. So we have more general one, but we are working on our specific one. And by that, I mean, we're combining phages with hydrogels. So we still have these D units separately, phages and hydrogels, and we're at the point of like, we want to put it together. So I guess that's where we are.
Awesome. Okay. Do you see this as something that would be an over-the-counter product, or like what's the pathway to market?
Yeah, so we are not exactly sure about this part. We're thinking this could be potentially a higher end product. So you would be getting it at specialized clinics where you could be educated first, or depending on how many times you need to use it, because we need to work that out first. All of the conditions that would allow you to have it as an over-the-counter product as well. So we haven't quite figured that part out. So any advice on that would be amazing.
Awesome.
Well, would you be interested in a funding program where they basically provide money for you to hire an expert to help you figure out the solution to that problem?
Oh, yeah.
Let's connect after. I know one. There might be some experts in the room that can help you. Anyways, awesome job, Aurelia. Andrew, why don't we go to the next speaker?
That sounds good to me. So this next fellow here is representing Nanostics. However, I think given certain news that's come out very recently and a very major milestone that Nanostics' sister company just experienced, I think he should be talking about both. So here to talk about Nanostics and Entos is Colin.
Is that looking good?
Yeah, you're looking good, Colin.
All right, thanks, Zach. There you go. Well, thank you, everybody, and thanks, Zach, and for TNT and everyone for putting this together, and Andrew for the introduction. Yeah, I'm gonna give a little bit of a story here. And I will talk about two companies in particular, Nanostics and Entos Pharmaceuticals. But to begin the story, it really starts over a decade ago with a person, an Edmontonian by the name of Frank Sajonki. So unfortunately, Frank Sajonki got diagnosed with prostate cancer, and he fought the disease for a long time. While he was going through various treatments of the disease, he would often talk to his physicians, and he was a very entrepreneurial guy, and he wanted to know what kind of prostate cancer research was going on in the province, and he was told that most of the prostate cancer research was going on in either Vancouver or Toronto, and that didn't sit well with him, and so he decided to start an organization called the Bird Dogs for Prostate Cancer Research. And essentially what he did is he went out to some of his friends, and they were all hunters, and that's where they get the bird dogs from. And they decided to raise some money and to create a translational prostate cancer research group in Edmonton, in Alberta. And they recruited Dr. John Lewis to the province, who started something called the Alberta Prostate Cancer Research Initiative. The goal of that initiative was to really be translational, to develop new diagnostic tests for prostate cancer and new therapeutics for prostate cancer as well. And Dr. Lewis has been very successful in both those endeavors, and I'll give you a little bit of an overview of those. In particular, Nanostics, the diagnostics company, was spun out of the University of Alberta and Dr. Lewis's Upcari network, and was in 2017. And basically what he's developed is a new prostate cancer diagnostic test, which you can differentiate patients with aggressive and non-aggressive forms of the disease. Without getting into too much of the science, the science is really actually revolutionary. We're looking at something called extracellular vesicles in the blood. Extracellular vesicles are everywhere in your body. They're actually, we've learned more and more about them in the last few years. They're actually kind of messenger molecules in the blood, and they float between different tissues. What we can do is we can look at these extracellular vesicles, and by looking at healthy and diseased patients, we create fingerprints of disease using a special microflow cytometry platform that we use. And so using this platform, we've developed the test. Currently, we've raised $5 million, all local money in Alberta. We've supplemented that with a $4 million non-dilutive funding. We're currently in a 2,800 patient clinical study with that, with our partner DynaLife here in Edmonton. And so that's pretty exciting. And I'll just kind of pass my 3-minute mark, but I'll kind of also tell you the therapeutic story as well. So Entos was also founded and spun sort of out of the university to where they created some genetic targets to stop prostate cancer spread. And so these were genetic-based drugs, which they packaged in a technology which is patented by Entos Pharmaceuticals, which is a lipid nanoparticle delivery platform. And a year ago, they were kind of beginning to map out what a phase 1 clinical study would look like using that platform, and then COVID hit. They quickly switched to then develop a genetic therapy or genetic based vaccine, a DNA vaccine against COVID-19. We've been working on that for the last year. We currently have 2 lead candidates. Our first lead candidate is set to begin human clinical trials next week. So it's been a pretty wild ride in the last year. And we have lots more work to do to get our vaccines to market. But I just want to kind of show you what can happen with a little bit of initiative here in the province, with a little bit of foresight, and with one person with a mindset to change what Alberta does differently, and Frank Sajonki can do. And if there's any questions, happy to address them.
That's awesome, Colin. I did not know that origin story. That is really cool. Listen, let me ask you a question about Nanostics, and then I'll let Andrew talk about Entos with you. Tell us a little bit about, it's a two-part question. Path to market for Nanostics now. You mentioned you have a clinical trial going. And then
Yes.
is there an opportunity for this to be a platform where it could be diagnosing, different types of cancers, not just prostate cancer?
Absolutely. It's and actually the whole extracellular vesicle field is exploding in terms of kind of scientific discovery. Almost almost every cell in the body emits these EVs, and there's millions of them in the bloodstream, in every bodily fluid. And so we've actually created a pretty robust pipeline of different therapeutics right now as well that we're tackling. We've got about 6 or 7 development projects in the market. Essentially, we got a disease, we got human samples, we can compare them to healthy individuals, and we think we can create a better diagnostic test for that. So yeah, it is definitely a platform technology, but costs money to get each one through clinical trials, and they're expensive.
So what do you think the timeline is to getting the first one in market between now and launch?
So the clinical study we're doing is a 2,800 patient study. We're at about 900 patients right now. When we get halfway through, we'll kind of have a really good cohort. We've slowed down the last year because of COVID. Doesn't make a lot of sense recruiting elderly men into a study in the middle of COVID, but all those trials have started up again because men are still getting prostate cancer, and they're participating in our trial.
Okay, Andrew, we need to dive deeper into this Entos story because I've seen it in the news a bunch of times. Andrew, lead the charge on that one.
Yeah, sure. So I think it's great news that you're now in humans as of next week. What do you see as the big sort of challenge from Entos in terms of the scientific side with a DNA based vaccine? Because like, what's the competitive landscape look like? And I know there's a couple of others in phase 1. Why a DNA vaccine? And why should that be really pursued as a viable option?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've at Entos, we've worked with RNA delivery genetic medicines as well. Early on, we had a lot of experience with DNA delivery, and our system is a little more amenable to that. We chose DNA because DNA is more stable than RNA. We pulled DNA out of dinosaur bones. You wouldn't pull out RNA. It's a transient genetic material, so we're more stable. We're stable at room temperature for a month. We're stable in the fridge for a year, so distribution is going to be better. What we're finding which we found in our clinical studies too, is RNA. It works really well, expresses proteins really quickly, but our DNA gets expressed over a longer period of time. We think that that's going to have a better it will fit better for vaccines and for different genetic medicines as well. So we really like the DNA approach. Nobody else is doing a DNA approach. Everyone's either an RNA or protein, at least the ones that are in the market. And so that's why we went there. And so far the science has proven us right. We'll see in the human clinical studies as well. In terms of challenges, I think the biggest challenge for us right now is we're trying to increase our manufacturing capabilities. So, we started our R&D program a year ago, and now we're in clinical studies, but we've had a harder time trying to get the funding to really expand our commercial manufacturing facilities, which we would like to do here in the province.
Here. I solidly agree, and I think it's a really exciting thing for Edmonton to be at the forefront of this. And it's promising news that the province is interested in supporting this area. I think there's an opportunity here for us, in a big way, and hopefully things move forward so that we're able to have companies like Entos protecting future Canadians and current Canadians from a wide range of pandemics.
Yeah, we definitely had some.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say we definitely more recently had some very positive conversations with the provincial government.
Yeah. Last but certainly not least is our good friend from Pacylex, Ryan.
Hello, everyone. Let me pop up these slides. Yeah, so I'm Ryan Hite. I'm with Pastex Pharmaceuticals. I'm a co-founder of the group along with two other Edmontonians here. One is a cell biologist at U of A, and one is a cross-cancer institute clinician treating breast cancer. And so what Pastex is, I'll try to be brief. What Pastex is a first-in-class therapeutic for new cancer target. And so how we started is we actually started with the diagnostic side. We found a pathway that is kind of a little studied and not has not been used as a target for any therapeutics really, called myristoylation out of Dr. Luc Bertillon's lab out of cell biology here in U of A. And what he found is that in a lot of different cancer types, NMT, so one of the two enzymes that are responsible for myristoylation is basically absent in a lot of cancer cells, whereas the normal cells right next to them are have a full complement of both of these complementary enzymes. And so he came up with the idea of, can you do a treatment where, is this an Achilles heel where cancers are hobbling on one leg, which give them a potential advantage in actually tumor genesis, but also explosive weakness. And so that was his hypothesis, and it turns out to be performing pretty well. So he came up with that diagnostic test, and Pacylex was really formed on that diagnostic strength. And in our travels, we've in-licensed a therapeutic from the University of Dundee, and this was actually pretty serendipitous. They had a therapeutic that already had a lot of development on the actual molecule. We've got a lead molecule identified and a lot of PK/PD studies already done by the University of Dundee, and then they were about to shelve it because it wasn't working or it couldn't work for the disease indication they were looking for. So we came in and we partnered with the University of Dundee and licensed that therapeutic. So where we're going, like Dr. Luc Bertillon hypothesized, it looks to be an inhibitor that we've licensed here that inhibits myristoylation that looks like it could be applicable to across a wide range of cancers. And we've identified two types as kind of our lead indications. One is diffuse large B-cell lymphoma, and one is acute myeloid leukemia. And the reason we're doing this is because a couple of reasons. The patients that are absent this particular enzyme are much more prevalent in the blood tumors, with DLBCL and AML being the two main ones that came to the top of our list. And also patients that have these cancers that fail their first round of treatment, there is no secondary treatment. So we're going after the treatment refractory patient population of these two cancers first, with DLBCL being something that we just received Health Canada clinical trial approval to launch a clinical trial in 3 sites. So we're going to be launching it in Edmonton, Princess Margaret Hospital in Toronto, and the UBC Cancer Care Agency in Vancouver. Briefly, myristoylation is just the tagging of fatty acid on a typically water-loving molecule. So you stick the fatty acid on it, it can go to the membrane. You cleave the fatty acid, it comes back off the membrane. So any signal that needs to go through the membrane, a lot of the proteins that carry that signal through the membrane are going to be myristoylated. And so that was where, it's a very broad use in a lot of different cell pathways. Across different cancer types, it looks like, we've got multiple screens that we've done, and we've got multiple studies that we've done that look to be, like I said, leukemia and lymphoma are our leads because of the amount of responses we're getting and because of the amount of decrease of NMT2 in these cell lines. But across multiple different cancer types, over 19 have been identified. There is a significant portion of the population of these cancer patients that are devoid NMT2 and should be a candidate for this therapeutic. We're just launching in DLBCL first. I just like to show data every once in a while. So these are treatments that we did in mouse studies. So these are patient-derived xenografts. So cancer cells from the patient was injected into a mouse where a tumor was grown, and then we treated with our drug. We've done it multiple times, solo with Dr. Rubinson, with other current lead or current therapeutics in market, and everything's looking actually pretty good for this therapy. The interesting part for us is going after treatment refractory patients. and looking at comparables that have happened in the past, it really needs to be a pretty simple open label study. We may be able to get a orphan drug approval, which means this could be a very quick, very quick to market drug. And we're, like I said, probably May, we're going to be starting dosing patients in 3 cities across Canada. And then in terms of, where we're going with this, we know this is a synergistic compound with a lot of potential therapies on the market that could synergize with, or we could synergize with them. The one interesting one is the one interesting drug candidate that is out in the market that we don't synergize with is BTK inhibitors. And interestingly, a lot of those are actually coming off patent, and they've dominated the market for a long time. So we might be able to be positioned as a replacement for a BTK inhibitor and synergize with a lot of therapeutics already on the market. I'll leave it with this, but basically that's our story. We started here as a diagnostic, in-licensed therapeutic. Everything has been going pretty well. We did a couple of raises with local capital. We're currently hopefully closing our Series A shortly. We're in a no shop, so I can't say much about it. And yeah, clinical trials should be starting in May, and hopefully our development path is pretty quick based on comparables.
Ryan, awesome. Thanks for that. It's great to see an entrepreneur and angel investor give a more or less academic presentation on the details of their company.
You told me this is a science pitch, so I was going straight on the science.
No, I love it. But actually, I'm actually curious about that last phase. Educate us on, what the path to market looks like for you as a company. Like, is the plan definitely to try and partner with someone or get acquired by someone to get you fully to market? What does that look like from your perspective as an organization?
Yeah, so any comparable, it could look like many things, and we are pretty open in how it could look. And really, we're going to be looking at, the best suited investor for us at the time, who would then, as we grow, get the best board candidates that we can get. And based on that expertise that we're getting on our investors and our board, we're going to be leaning on them and their expertise to decide really in the end which way we're going. But it could be, a partnership with large pharma as a sale or a license. It could be, lead or indication by indication, or it could just be an outright sale. It could be something that we could just go to kind of partner with a boutique pharma, or it could be something that we just raise and keep going and bring it to market because it might be a short path and the money might be there. So we are open to anything, and we're just gonna lean on our board and our founders to make the right decision at the time as we progress.
So I'm gonna ask another question that's a top of mind for me, which is, a company like yours, where do local angel investors play in your history? And do they play an important role, or should they play an important role for companies like you?
Yeah, so this is, pharma is a very expensive, long road. We may have an exception here. We're fingers crossed we have an exception because we can go possibly after an orphan and get to clinic at the end of phase 2. But because it's so long and so costly, we weren't able to really find a general angel investor class that would support this. It's pretty risky. Like I said, this is a new mechanism of action that's never really been looked at, and it's a new therapeutic that's never been in humans before. So we're carrying a lot of risk, and it's a long pathway. So for that reason, we've had to go after one of two types of capital. Either very sophisticated capital in the space or very wealthy, sympathetic capital, I'd almost say. So like angel investors that are sympathetic to our cause, that's actually a good area to tap into. And if you're asking for like suggestions for next companies coming up, looking at like the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society and looking at their donors and asking them to pitch to them and go to their grant programs, find the grants and the philanthropists that give in that area in your specific disease indication, and it might be a good spot to start.
Interesting idea, Ryan. Andrew, I'm going to pass it off to you. We're like 10 minutes over time.
I'm so sorry.
But this has been great. Andrew, what do you have to say about Life Sciences TNT Pitch Night?
I think we saw a lot of potential here, and it makes me really happy that everyone has a great story to tell, and we continue to learn new things about companies. The same with you when it came to Nanostics and Entos. I always see John's title of his chair, being named after those philanthropists, but I had no idea that there was that level of interest from them. And that's a good story of Albertans putting money into life sciences. Same with the story of Pacylex. Same with the story of a lot of companies here. So, one of the things I would challenge is we've done a whole bunch of summits now under your belt. And you've actually supported a lot of life science companies through Startup TNT. API is very willing to help throw in some cash on the table, $50,000, $100,000 to get a dedicated life science summit, so we can start throwing more money at these companies.
Did that just happen? Did Andrew McIsaac just throw down a challenge to Startup TNT to see if we can throw together a life sciences summit publicly?
I did.
Accepted, Andrew.
If I had gloves, I would drop one.
Challenge accepted. We're going to make this happen. All right. Sounds like I know a great place to talk about how we can make this happen. It's called Startup TNT Happy Hour. It starts right now on Discord. So why don't we leave it there? Stay tuned. Andrew and I are going to talk about how we can make this happen. And it's going to be an exciting year in Edmonton. Thanks, everybody, for coming.